Hi, I'm Jose Miranda. This is Hispanic Speak Out TV, brought to you each week on Bright House Channel 49. We have two additional shows. It's Latina Role Model, which comes after us, and Greg Perkins and EDU TV. We cover politics, we cover education, we cover culture, we cover the community. I'm being joined tonight with Ms. Ayala, who's running for District Attorney in Orange County.
State Attorney, Orange and Osceola counties.
All right.
How are you?
Aramis, how are you?
Good to see
you. I've seen you all over the place lately, and I'm very proud to see that. Okay, you've been in my mailbox numerous times. Okay, so I'm a constituent. What has changed in your directions of doing things right now? You're getting close to the primary and stuff. What's going through your head? Anything changed?
Not a lot has changed. From the time that I started my campaign, March 2nd of this year, I have had my platform remains consistent with me bringing back the centralized intake, focusing on domestic violence, looking at the drop rate to make certain that we're decreasing the number of cases that are domestic violence cases being dropped, looking at balancing out inequities in the system, attacking any biases, creating an office culture of both consistency and a high degree of ethics. That has not changed from the time that I put my name in until today.
What do you think you bring to the office that your opponents are not bringing? Because they've done such a stellar job up to this point that you want to take them out. So. Well,
there's a couple of things. I think that for me, one of the primary things that I bring is a diversity of experience. A lot of times people give extensive numbers. Oh, I've had this many years doing this, and that's the only thing that they've done. When you are a monolithic candidate, you're limited on your level of knowledge. So for me, I have been an assistant state attorney. I have been a public defender. I have been a professor of law. I've sat on multiple boards. I've been in management. I have focused on victims in my entire time as being a prosecutor. So when you're comparing someone who has only focused on homicide cases, there is no victim. The victim is deceased. Versus the bulk of cases that we see, I enjoy the encounter with victims, and that's something that makes me different. The other thing that makes me extremely different is my reputation for ethics and integrity. Having been on both sides of the law, I'm very proud of my reputation that what I say I mean, and what I mean I say. That there is no hidden agenda. I don't have ulterior motives. I am and have always represented what a prosecutor should be, and that's trustworthy.
Now, people say prosecutors, it's just about numbers, man. You know what I'm saying? All you care is about a conviction rate. You really don't care about the good or the bad or the ugly. It's just about numbers to make your agency look better and you look better in the state's eyes.
You know, Jose, I can tell you that that is a reputation. But as we're seeing the dynamics of what's going on in this country, people are able to see that there is a position in politics where a person is a decision maker on what happens when law enforcement gets involved with violence, when law enforcement is attacked by those on the street. There is a place for someone to make those decisions and be involved in the community as well as the courtroom. So I think that we have evolved as prosecutors of actually being a vehicle for peace, for change, and for bridging gaps between law enforcement and the police, much more than just a conviction.
Well, let's speak about that bridging and gap. We've had some shootings lately.
Yes.
Some ugly shootings.
Very sad.
Okay, we've had some shootings here in Florida. Okay, how is your office going to either change that viewpoint of violence that appears to be on the side of the police initiating and the public's under-education of what exactly is going on?
Well, there's a couple of things. Part of my platform has always been community education. I think a lot of times the community gets somewhat disappointed and misdirected and misguided because they don't know where to be frustrated. So they get upset at the outcome of a trial when those of us who know the law aren't surprised by the outcome of the trial because the way that the law is crafted. So once I'm able as a prosecutor to have me and my team get in the community and educate them, this is the law. If you have problems with it, here is the legislature where you can address those ills, where you can address the wrongs and your concerns. So community education is one of the things that will address that gap by being involved. The other thing is making certain that we are acknowledging the truths of gun violence. I think that an office that I plan on having needs to have a very strong policy of safety when it comes to guns. Guns are extremely dangerous and they end up destroying people and their safety. So we have to be consistent whether it's used on a law enforcement officer or misused by a law enforcement officer.
Well, let's take guns for example.
Yes, sir.
Guns don't kill. People kill.
Guns kill.
And the misunderstanding that the officer mishandles his job is what causes an accident for that gun to be discharged. The same thing as that gun in the hands of someone who shouldn't have. Okay, but the gun in and of itself is just a piece of metal that's being adapted to create bullets and shoots.
I disagree. I think that
Okay.
we have created this concept and this belief that, oh, guns don't kill.
Right.
Guns are designed to produce a projectile
Right.
at such a speed that it pierces whatever object or person is attempting to go at. So when it's aimed in the right direction, it has one purpose, but to destroy something. So when you are
But isn't
using
that
it,
called protection under the Second Amendment?
it can be protection, but protection still results in killing someone. It still results in a bullet piercing a person. So at the end of the day, guns do kill people, and they were designed for that reason. Put in the wrong hands at the wrong time, you end up killing the wrong person. Put in the right hands with the right character and the right purpose, you end up doing the right thing.
But now we go back to this education thing. If you educate the officer how to do his job,
Yes, sir.
okay, which I don't know whether you have an influence on that or not, but if that officer is educated, if that citizen is educated better, that would reduce gun violence. would you say?
Absolutely. I think that the relationship that I intend on having with law enforcement is one of honor and respect.
Right.
It's also one where we have to be mutually educated, because I, being elected, will be the voice of those who elect me. So I can't go silent after they elect me. I have to be that voice that they voted me to be. So when I'm having a conversation with law enforcement, while my office is an arm and an extension of law enforcement, I'm also voted in by the people and have to manage myself as such.
Well, let me ask you this. Is law to you black and white, or are there gray areas?
The law is black and white. The interpretation of it by individuals is what makes it gray. You and I can read an entire statute. You can interpret one thing out of it, I can interpret something else out of it.
Right.
That interpretation is what makes it somewhat gray, but the law by itself is black and white.
Where do you see people have a beef and they don't have a way to express it? Your office is a prosecuting arm of the state
Yes, sir.
that basically is to prosecute
Yes, sir.
and to defend those people who have been abused by whatever bad guy is coming into the process. How do you make your office more accessible just into John Q. public so that they can ask those questions of you and not be afraid to come to you?
I think this campaign has widened so much of our reach because of me getting down on the ground and not being unreachable or just being behind a camera. The same individuals who are watching this are the same ones who can show up at a community event and see me there as well. So when you want to be accessible, you have to know where individuals in different groups, where they are, whether it's a political arena or it's a church arena, a youth group arena, whatever it is, you have to have a presence there. And while it may not be me individually, it can be a representative from my office. So that is what we have to do, is have people placed in seeking out the need versus saying, hey, come see me. As a state attorney, you have to not just be willing to host people, but you have to be willing to be hosted and find where the need is as well. One thing I do want to say is that while the reputation for the state attorney's office is extremely focused on prosecution, we prosecute because we represent the interest of victims. And there's a lot of victims who look a lot like the people who are also being prosecuted. So it's not really a concern for one or the other. It really is about right versus wrong in committing crimes.
Tell them why they should vote for you.
Absolutely. I think that I'm attempting to earn your vote, to earn your support. Aramis Ayala. I stand for integrity, I stand for justice, equal justice, I stand for victims' rights, I stand for you, your family, no matter what side of the law you are on, because the job of the state attorney is one thing, to administer justice properly and fairly. That's it. So no matter what side you're on, if you are a defendant, you will be treated fairly. You commit a crime, you will be prosecuted, but that prosecution will be fair. If you are a victim of a crime, you certainly will be properly represented in Orange and Osceola County. I just ask for your support. Early voting has started, but the actual election is on August 30th, 2016. Please vote Aramis Ayala for state attorney. And if you have any other questions, you can reach me on my website at www.aramisayala.com.
Thank you, Aramis.
Thank you.
For joining me. Nice to hang out with you.
Thank you.
I'm Jose Miranda. This has been Hispanic Speak Out TV. We'll see you again same time next week.
Hola Florida, introducing Boricua Beer and Taino Light Beer. Boricua and Taino Light are crafted beers that are rich in flavors and brewed right here in Florida. Taino beer has a crisp, refreshing Caribbean flavor style when enjoyed chilled. Boricua beer is a craft ale with full body flavor that is a beer drinker's beer. Boricua and Taino Light Beers. Enjoy responsibly.
Hi, I'm Jose Miranda. This is Hispanic Speak Out TV, brought to you each week on Bright House Channel 49. We have two shows. We have Latino Role Model, which comes after me, and because the show that precedes me is EDU TV with Greg Perkins, which talks highly on education and things that your family and your kids need to know on education. We talk politics, we talk culture, we talk about stuff around the house, we talk about international news and things of interest to you, and of course about the Hispanic culture. Politics being what it is, we have candidates to come in and sit down and tell us why they want to run for office. I'm being joined tonight by Emily Bonilla, who's running for District 5.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi Emily, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. You're running District 5 in what county?
I'm running for Orange County Commissioner, District 5.
Okay. So my first question out of the box is, why are you running for office?
Well, the reason why I'm running is because I've been fighting the urban sprawl in East Orange County for the last 3 years. And as we all know, Orange County has seen growth that's been irresponsible. We have traffic that's uncontrollable. People are sitting in their cars for an hour and a half trying to get to work. And we have the environment too. There's a lot of issues across all of Florida with our water. And where they wanted to develop in East Orange County can pollute our water aquifers. It's a environmentally sensitive area. And our commissioner has not been listening to any of the people out there. I helped raise over 8,000 petition signatures to stop this development. And the people have not been heard by their commissioner, and that's why I stood up to run.
Is it the people or just, or the commissioner, or is it the fact that people on the whole don't really care about the environment?
Oh, there's a lot of people who care about the environment. It's I would say the politicians or elected officials who aren't listening to the people who are concerned about the environment. About 75% of the voters, or the people who voted for the Amendment 1 funds to purchase lands for environmental protection.
Mm-hmm.
That's a large percentage of our population who cares about the environment. It's proven by that. Mm-hmm. But money talks first, it seems.
So if you acquire the lands, you'll just keep it off the public domain so that they won't be spoiled or polluted, is that correct?
Yes.
Right, but this has been an ongoing problem for years. This is not just didn't turn up today. You could probably turn back the clock 20 years and we still have the same issue, is that right?
Well, it's gotten a lot worse under Governor Rick Scott because of the policy changes that he's made. So now it used to go under state review, and they've taken that away. So now it's more under county control, which it can be more influenced by campaign finances to influence their voting decisions.
Wow, that's not right.
No, it's not.
I recently had the opportunity to speak with your opponent. He categorized you as a one-dimensional opponent, as an environmentalist, and that this job requires a multicultural thing to address everything. What's your feedback on that?
Well, if someone doesn't understand that urban sprawl causes a lot of other issues, such as issues with our job market, issues with our local economy, our businesses, our healthcare, our children's education, then they probably have no business running for county commissioner if they don't understand that. Because urban sprawl, it affects all of those issues negatively. And about 90% of the job of a commissioner is approving developments. So it's our commissioners who are approving and allowing all of this urban sprawl, or they can make the right decision and prevent urban sprawl and have more smart and sustainable growth.
It's been my looking at it from the outside that the commissioners and the mayor is more or less like a cheerleading squad for each other, in that you guys will present an idea and everybody has to agree on that idea before it goes forward. Is that basically what it is?
Well, it's majority rules.
Okay.
In the case of, for example, the Lake Pickett developments, it was a 4-3 vote. And our commissioner had voted against his own constituents. Like I said, we've raised over 8 to 10,000 petition signatures. They're all out there, but different groups, so I can't give you an exact number. But he did not listen to the people. And there was Commissioner Siplin, who she voted, as she said, in line with the district commissioner.
Okay.
And then there were 2 other commissioners who voted in favor of it. But there were 3 commissioners, Jacobs, Thompson, and Clark. Actually, the mayor, Jacobs, voted against it, saying that we don't need this because we have Innovation Way, which has been approved for development right now, and it's just sitting there. It hasn't been built yet. And that Innovation Way was supposed to bring a lot of jobs to our county as well. So we don't need the Lake Pickett developments at this moment.
The majority of the community, well, I shouldn't say majority, but 20-25% are Hispanic. Another probably 25% African American, and the rest are Anglos. So how are you going to reach that 40% or so that would turn the election in your way? You know, how do you get Latinos to come off? Forgive me. How are you going to get the Latinos to vote, to find a reason to get out and make that vote? How are you going to accomplish that?
Well, growth is something that's going to happen in Orange County and in Central Florida and Florida overall. We have people coming from all over the nation.
Okay.
We also are going to have a lot of people coming from Puerto Rico, a huge population. So what do they need? They need jobs. And that's one thing that my experience can bring to the table. I've been a business owner for 10 years. I've been a business consultant and a career advisor for 3 years, working with employers and employees across the nation. So I know what the employers are looking for in a city to relocate to. And that's what I'm going to work on, is bringing more jobs to Orange County. And that's what we're going to need for all those people who are coming here. Right now, we don't have enough jobs for the people that are here now.
Right.
So we don't need to build more homes. We need to grow more quality jobs.
When you say the right jobs, you mean right now, I believe we have to tool up and get the job done. We don't have factories anymore.
No, we don't.
In America, okay? We have more high-tech things. So we actually have to uplift everybody that's coming in, not just the people from the island. But because of the people of the island, it might be a little bit more difficult because our system of government is more confusing. So how do you simple that to make them understand our system?
Well, what I've been telling everyone is that August 30th is the local elections, and it's very important because your local elections affect you way more than the presidency.
Right, I agree with that, yeah. We're so used to voting in incumbents, okay? And it seems the record for incumbents is unanimous. They seem to get voted back again and again and again. But here we have an incumbent that you're saying that the people are not with anymore. So what are you bringing to the table that's different?
I have a history of listening to the people. I've been fighting with them and beside them against this urban sprawl for the last 3 years. Not only the Lake Pickett developments, but I also fought for the jobs to housing linkage ordinance that was supposed to be for Innovation Way. So there's a lot of issues that I've been fighting on behalf of the residents and constituents of Orange County, and not only in my District 5 either.
Real quick, what kind of jobs do you think would work in your district?
Well, you mentioned high tech.
I mean, high tech.
Yes.
Right. So.
High tech, simulations, game development, film and television. There's a lot of different industries that we could diversify here.
Are we planning to give them all kinds of discounts to come in, or they have to pay their fair share?
Well, we also have a large startup coalition here in Orlando as well. So what I want to focus on is helping new businesses start up rather than relocate, but we can relocate as well. But we need to inspire and encourage people that live here already to start their own businesses and innovate.
Okay. You are a Latina. You were raised in both New York, Massachusetts, and then here.
Yes.
Okay. And you live in the neighborhood.
Yes.
Okay. Was that by design, or did you find it more comfortable living in the neighborhood?
I chose where I live right now because I wanted to have a good upbringing for my children in a more suburban, rural atmosphere. I lived in the city my entire life, and it wasn't for me. I didn't like it, and I didn't want to raise my children in the city.
Okay.
So I chose to move out into the country. I have 6 acres, and I love it. And yeah, we chose to live out there.
Take a
It was
look at that
choice.
camera and tell the folks why you should be elected.
Please elect me, and the reason why you should elect me is because I'm not the status quo. I'm actually the only candidate who doesn't have any conflicts of interest with developers. I am not a developer, I don't work for one, and I don't want to be one. And I'm going to represent the people and bring more jobs to Orange County.
Contact numbers.
You can go to my website at voteforemily.com. Well, you can see my phone number on the website at voteforemily.com.
It's a hard job, and I'm sure that you're ready for it. And you have children and
I have a
husband.
16-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Okay.
I'm married.
Okay.
And my children have been born and raised in East Orange County.
On that note, thank you, Emily, for hanging out with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Please come back again.
I will.
All right. I'm Jose Miranda. This has been Hispanic Speak Out TV. We'll see you again next week, same time, same station. Hi, I'm Jose Miranda. This is Hispanic Speak Out TV, brought to you each week on Bright House Channel 49. We have 2 additional shows, EDU TV with Greg Perkins, and of course, Latino Role Models, which follows us immediately. Stay tuned to the programs. They're great programs on education and, of course, dealing with the community. We talk sports, politics, we talk issues, we talk our culture, of course, and we talk all things Orlando and national as well. I'm being joined tonight by Mr. Peelan, okay, as first name is Scott, and you're running for, sir. Good afternoon.
Hello, how are you, Jose? Nice to see you. I am running for GOP State Committee Man here in Orange County.
Okay. Tell me what that means.
You know what? I get asked that question every day,
I don't mean to
about
sound
20
silly, but-
times a day. Well, the reason is that every county has 2 committee men representing the Republican Party.
Okay.
Very few people know what it is, and the reason for that, the people that take the job for the most part are senior statesmen. You know, an old mayor or an old senator or whoever, and they keep those jobs for extended periods of time. Well, what has transpired in this particular cycle is that we have a fair amount of friction between our governor and our legislator, perhaps you heard, and we are really working hard from the grassroots level to try to make sure there's a lot of stability in the Republican Party and to make sure everyone knows we have a very large tent and everybody's welcome in it.
Now that you bring it in that kind of thing, you want to get everybody in the tent. What do you do when you have candidates that don't make you
It doesn't behave well?
Yeah, don't behave well, don't make you happy. They're running, and what do?
I think the best way to look at that is start at the top. Right now, the Republican Party has a presidential contender who to say is a little edgy is an understatement. I'm speaking of Donald Trump.
Okay.
And just now as we speak, Trump is finally coming to the conclusion, maybe I've overstepped a bit. Maybe I've stepped on a few toes that I shouldn't have. Maybe I've stepped on my on my tongue, or maybe I should have, and didn't. And what's ultimately transpiring is that the polls and the people are saying, hey, Mr. Trump, you might want to cool it just a little bit. That's kind of what we're looking at here. We want to make sure that the Republican Party is inclusive, not exclusive. And that's really what's going on.
For the most part, the Republican Party has been accused of non-exclusion. You don't like Hispanics, you don't like African Americans, you don't like gay and lesbian people, you just don't like. So what do you do, especially here in the state of Florida? What are we going to do to change that?
Well, first off, it's not so. It never has been so.
Okay.
The Republican Party, the party of Lincoln, is the party that freed the slaves.
Okay, we're not there now.
Okay.
We're not in that
But
level
you see
now.
that. But the point being is that it has been characterized by a news media that tends to lean left, and it's also characterized by the other side. And there hasn't been a strong enough push to go and neutralize the stuff because it's not true.
Explain. When you look on TV, I don't see my face, for example. I'm sure other people don't see their faces there. All right.
Well, for example, here in Florida, South Florida, where I come from, Dade, Broward, I wasn't born there, but I lived there long ago for quite a while.
Okay.
The Cuban people settled in Dade County, and they came up to Broward into Palm Beach County. So there were a very strong Hispanic influence. My Aunt Fran lived on Lejeune Road since the 1920s, and she had many Hispanic friends. One even taught her the Lord's Prayer. So there are very strong Hispanic influences in the Republican Party, because most of the older Cubans, before the Marielitos, were people that were all Republican. That kind of changed as a lot more came, and the party did not do near enough to welcome them. Well, guess what? That is happening again, and as a result, what we're seeing is our party is growing, it's expanding, and it's getting bigger, better, stronger.
All right. I don't mean to go over this again, but how are you trying to attract them?
Well, the best way to do that is on the grassroots level. You know, they say there's treetops in grassroots.
Right.
Well, the party I'm trying to build and support, and an office I'm running for, is on the grassroots. Welcome, include, build bridges, don't burn them. And how that's happening is there's a lot of young people that are joining our party. They're saying the Democrats don't speak for me. It's a party of overspending, underachieving, and making messes. And everyone can see that. The Republicans really are in much better shape than the Democrats, but you wouldn't know it because the news media.
I would say that the Republican Party tends to be conservative, which I think a lot of, especially minorities, like some type of conservatism. But I will point out to you, like, and I'm going to use Donald Trump for example. The other night he gave a speech that allegedly was directed at African Americans. Your party was trying to attract African Americans, and yet he did it 40 miles from the epicenter of where things were happening. He did it in a county which was 99% white, all right, and there was no African Americans or Latinos in the audience. So how does the party change that, even locally?
Well, I think the best way to look at it, Jose, is you have to start somewhere. If the perception is everyone's reality, say, okay, so much it is. The fact is he's paying attention to it, and so is the rest of the country. What you're going to see, I can guarantee it, I really can, is you're going to see an upward trend of the Trump train. You're going to. And the reason is Hillary Clinton is about as popular as nuclear war.
Well, they're both. The detractors are great on either side. Okay, let's not go there.
I'm going to embrace my guy and say that he's got higher, a little bit, on the trust level than she does.
Yeah,
and that's true.
His negatives are also.
Oh, no, they are not
there.
good.
Okay,
I couldn't agree more.
Let's talk locally. We had the terrorist attack here
at the Pulse.
At the Pulse. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that? What laws can what things are you going to go after and make changes for that?
Well, first off, what we have to do is be very, very vigilant. What I found absolutely outrageous is the other side, the Democrat Party, tried to think of every excuse in the world that this guy was a gay hater and a gay baiter and that he really wasn't a terrorist. Well, guess what? He said Ali Akbar before he murdered 49 people in our community. You know, all of us have to use some common sense, and to go out and say just because Barack Obama is in charge and Hillary Clinton wants his job that there's no terrorist activity in this country is absolutely silly.
Yeah, but what will the party try to do?
What the party has to do is
to change that.
Is that we have to be looking over our shoulders, and we have to do everything. We say, hey, listen, we don't want it to turn into a communist country where you look under everyone's bed to say, hey, you got to call in and say, this is what's happening. But you have to use some level of common sense. If things don't seem quite right, you need to call the authorities, and they will be here to help it out. But what the party needs to do is to say, hey, listen, just because you are brown-skinned or black-skinned or wear something that I don't happen to like a burqa or whatnot, that they shouldn't automatically be excluded. And I will say the Republicans could do a much better job in that, and I think that they're doing that right now. But the Democrat Party is a mess, it's a disaster, it's not good.
I'm not disputing either party. For me is crazy. Look in there and tell me why you should be elected.
Well, folks, I want you to know what happens in all elections is you get a lot of friction in between. Well, I'm going to try to be focusing on getting rid of an awful lot of friction. Friction isn't necessarily bad, but if it hurts people's feelings, if it makes them feel left out, if it makes them feel that they're not wanted, that's nothing that I want any part of, and neither does the Republican Party of Florida. What a state committee man does is that they help to build the big tent. And in that big tent comes good candidates that are electable. And people that move to Orlando, there's a large number, about 300 to 400 every single day, to go to the Department of Motor Vehicles, to go to the property appraiser's office, find the new folks and say, hey, listen, you know, this is about the Republican Party that you should want, and we want you in it. We're going to present that information. We're going to do everything we can, and I'm going to work to make the Republican Party bigger, better, and stronger.
Scott Palin.
Jose, you're very kind. Thank you for making time for me today. It was very, very nice to get the opportunity to share a few thoughts.
Thank you for hanging out with me.
My pleasure.
I'm Jose Miranda. This has been Hispanic Speak Out TV. We'll see you again, same time, same channel next week.
Cut.